I am Daniel Dazi. Thanks for joining us. Now, in our first story, challenges in the agriculture sector range from high cost of inputs to lack of access to market. In spite of the hurdles, however, a young farmer in Kumasi is making progress in fish farming after giving up his profession as a telecommunication engineer. Lawrence Kuma says he is already challenging university graduates to look to farming as serious business to create wealth. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin tells his story after a visit to his pond.
Initially, or let me see, at the beginning when I got into the catfish, I started with only 1,005 fingerlings, and one thing is I was just making a try, and after harvest, I got to know that I spent only 8,000 on the 1,500 fingerlings, but the profit was 7,000. So I got to know, no, then I think I have to invest more into the catfish.
Meet 35-year-old Lawrence from Tafo Estates in Old Tafo Municipality, who took what many will consider a difficult decision to quit engineering into fish farming.
At the beginning, I thought it was one of the interest. It was one of my interest subjects, and before I was doing electronics, and before I got into the telecom engineering. But when I came into fisheries, before I realized I shouldn't have wasted my time. If I had started early into the fisheries, I have gone far than as I am now today. If you really want to be a farmer, when I was at that age, your parents wouldn't advise you to be into the farming because they thought farming wasn't a good job. But I can tell you, farming is one of the best jobs.
Now, as we celebrate this young, brave farmer, let's go to other farmers who are complaining about how their farms are affected by disease.
Pruning gangs fight the dangerous mango black spot disease.
Almost all the farmers complain. That they are facing this problem. So we are practicing this so that we can clear off the bacteria from the trees.
The bacterial infection causes cracks in both the tree and the fruit, forcing them to rot and drop prematurely.
Kintampo North and South has as much as 4,109 acres of mango farms.
Yao Asenso Mensah is a pest and disease management expert resident at Kintampo. Persistent destruction of farmers' livelihood attracted his attention in 2017 to make his expertise available for 25 farmers.
We started with only 25 farms, and at the end of the year, the Department of Agriculture decided to come and evaluate our work. They found the work on the 25 farms that we piloted the BBS control on very impressive. And so a report was sent to the MCE, who also reported to the Minister of Agriculture.
We're off to Kwabena Opong's 25-acre farm, just about 15 minutes drive from Kintampo. Mr. Opong started his mango plantation in 2006 with about 1,000 trees. He chose mango because for him, it is, and as he puts it, a green gold after cocoa. 13 years down the lane, he's yet to gain appreciably from the plantation.
25 acres.
This is a 25-acre mango farm, and if not because of the huge losses, I would have harvested about 5 tons on every acre.
With the outbreak of a mango bacterial black spot in many farms, spraying and other maintenance activities cost farmers a fortune.
I spend about 2,800 on spraying and farm maintenance alone. After harvesting, it becomes difficult to get back your investment. The losses are huge. For an acre, we only get between 2 and 3 tons. I am not the only farmer going through this challenge. Almost all my colleagues in Kintampo are also facing the same challenge.
This year alone, Ms. Opong lost about 75% of produce to bacterial diseases.
We lose about 70% of produce. 70% there.
I have lost about 70% of the mango fruit on this farm, and this is equivalent to at least 5,000 Ghana cedis.
Farmers here have cut down their trees as some record zero harvest for 3 years. They do not have the financial strength to undertake mass spraying to rid their farms of a disease.
All the farms are affected to the extent that some of the farmers has cut down their trees. We have pictures to depict these scenes. It's very sad. And for the past 3 years, some of the farms have been recording zero harvest. All the diseases drop. All the fruits drop because of the disease. And so the solution requires a mass spraying, as recommended by the consultant who came to train my gangs for me. But the constraints has been the equipment that the company needs and also the chemicals that the farmers should be able to procure for us to do the mass spraying exercise.
The current yield for an acre is 1.4 tons from actual 5 tons. A proposed mango juice factory could become a white elephant unless steps are taken to address concerns of the farmers.
A major setback to the proposed mango juice factory that has been earmarked for Kintampo here, because the disease has been so devastating that the current yield on the average is 1.4 tons. When potentially the farmers can harvest about 5 tons per acre. We started operating for 2 years, and a farm that we have sprayed continuously for 2 years, this year recorded the 5 tons per acre. So it means that if we had been able to roll on all the farmers, we believe by this time around, most of them would have been approaching the 5 tons per acre targets. And that would have served the basis for the production of the needed fruits for the proposed mango juice factory.
Simon Yambo is Municipal Director for Agriculture.
I would say those who have not been able to carry out the practices, maintain their farms well, they can get as much as 100% loss or 70 to 50% loss. But those who are able to carry out the practices carefully, they also are able to get 100% gain or just about 3 to 5% losses.
So, what is the way forward? Mahmoud Mohamed reports for JoyNews.
Let's get on the phone lines now and speak with the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Abdul Rahman. Thank you, Mr. Rahman, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, my brother.
Happy Farmers Day, first of all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now, your association has been, in the past few days, very loud about the challenges that you face, particularly the rice farmers amongst you. Have these issues been resolved with government?
Currently, it has not yet been resolved, but government is responding to our concern. Government said that they will because we told them our challenges, and one of the challenges has to do with the lack of market for the rice, which we think that it is because there is much importation of rice into the country that has affected the market. So what we are telling government is that government should stop or ban importation of rice into the country to enable the environment good for the Ghanaian farmers. This is what we are requesting. Our second request is that some of the rice are still on the farm. And you can imagine this time Hamatan is starting. Bushfires are coming. So our farms are not secure. And the reason is because there are no combined harvesters to harvest them. That is the more reason why the rice is still on the farm. Thirdly, no storage that we could even store those that we have harvested that is on the ground now. We need storage. We need also to sell them, which government promised buffer stock should come and mop the produce from us. But as I'm telling you, as to date, we haven't seen them. So those are our challenges.
Now, we also spoke with the head of the National Buffer Stock Company. Apart from buying up your produce, Mr. Abdul Wahab Hanan mentioned that they would get you storage facilities like warehouses. Have these been provided?
Well, we have, if it were provided, as you're asking me the question, I'll just tell you that it has been provided at these locations. But my rice is still on the farm. It's still on the farm, not me alone, including my members, some of them who have gone into that production. The rice are still there. We didn't, if they are saying so. Anyway, I don't know where those, where they have, stored those,
those warehouses. Now, are there any new warehouses at Fumbisi?
Currently at Fumbisi, I am in Yagaba. Yagaba, we were told by the minister when they were interviewing him that there is a warehouse in Fumbisi that has been completed, which the president went and cut. The president went and then opened that warehouse. But I highly see that it is not in use as of now because I didn't see anything there now. But what I'm saying is that our rice is still on the farm. For Fumbisi, there are a lot of farmers there who are also battling with the same. We are all singing the same song. So I don't know which of the areas that they are talking about.
So what you're saying, Mr. Abdul Rahman, is that despite government's repeated assurances to you, when we're discussing the rice glut, nothing has actually been done to solve the problem.
Yes, nothing has been done because as of now, we were told that last 2 weeks ago, our rice would have been mopped up, and the rice is still sitting with us. So
have you gone back to government? Have you gone back to government to speak to them?
No, going back to government to speak to them, you know, what I just want you to know is that the buffer stock was initiated because to mop farmers' produce. It is not the matter of we going to government to lobby for them to come and pick our rice when there is already an institution that is to take care of that. So it is for them to know that this time rice farmers have produced and we have to mob them. So now that they haven't come and we came to complain and they promised us, we don't need to make a follow-up. I don't think it is reasonable to me. So that is why we are trying for government to hear.
Now, yesterday at the National Farmers Forum at the Volta region in Ho, the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah said farmers should begin seeing their profession as a business so that they can provide for themselves some of the implements that we've been talking about. What's your reaction to this?
Can that start from a smallholder farmer, which is the majority of farmers in this country, who is feeding the country? Can we use that? Start that one with you need to facilitate and support the smallholder farmer to also grow, and that is where when the smallholder farmers grow, they will take it from there. As we have expanded our farms because of planting for food and jobs initiatives to expand our farms, increase the yields, and look at where we are standing. So how do we go ahead?
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Rahman, for joining us. He's president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. It's live on JoyNews desk with me, Daniel Dazi. Let's take you now to the Western region where Natalia Kwanta is standing by to brief us on the latest on the Farmers' Day celebrations there. Now, Ina, we understand that there are no regional celebrations this year, but there are municipal and metropolitan and district celebrations. What have you observed?
Yes, right now I'm at the COPE in the SPMA Metropolitan Assembly. This is where the Secondita Credit Metro is having its Farmers' Day. The program is yet to commence, but our gallant farmers have lined up their food crops from cassava, maize. We have vegetables, we have rice, we have fruits, all sort of farm produce from their farms lined up here. And also the awards which they are going to present to them have also been lined up here beautifully. But as of this time, the program is yet to commence. I understand in Takwa too, the program is also yet to commence, but the farmers are there in their numbers.
Right. Have you been speaking to any of these farmers there, Natalia? What's their expectation for today? What's the mood like?
Yes, so for these farmers, they feel that they work so hard, and these hassles is not the best. Some of them have been telling me that they wish that instead of these things being brought to them, the roads which lead to the farm gates could be constructed, and then proper storage for their farm produce could be made for them, because they work so hard, but at the end of the day, they get little for what they put in.
So they would prefer infrastructure and support rather than the celebration and the pomp and the pageantry.
And all that.
Wow, thank you very much, Natalia Kwanzaa, for bringing us that update from the Western region. Expect more updates from across the country. You're still live here on Joy News today. We now hear Yao Edu, who is a farmer and an agro-processor. He is with us on the line. Good morning, Mr. Edu Poku.
Good morning, sir.
Now, your colleagues in the Western region, your colleagues in the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana have been demanding that government support what they do rather than celebrate this day in this way. Would you agree?
Partially.
How so?
There has been a hue and cry all this while about the the rice situation in Ghana. And for the good of all of us, the government is actually right on top of it. We have been dialoguing with the Import Association, which is called FABAC, and the big 20 importers in the country had been dialoguing with the Rice Millers Association through the auspices of the Minister of Agriculture, JAK Foundation, and with Hopeline Institute, an NGO. And there has been a big breakthrough in regards to the rice situation that we find ourselves in currently. The latest that we did was that last Wednesday, in the evening, the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Owusu Akoto himself, sat in as the chair with the heads of institutions, financial institutions. The heads were all there, and I ran on one side with one of the directors from Bank of Ghana, the head of banking supervision, for us to judge and find ways and means to get this thing off, so that the situation where pile-up of rice will be no more. And on the other side, we have big players like Buffer Stock, Commodity Exchange, and then the Rice Millers Association, and technical people from the Ministry of Agriculture. The minister's message was short and simple. How do we get the financial institutions to get this situation that we find ourselves in under control? Because partially, this situation is on because of planting for food and jobs. People had, there were subsidies, and people took advantage of it. Now, harvest is in. And we are all lamenting, because as the rice millers, we act as the core of the farmers. Without us, the farmer cannot sell rice, period. So the minister said, how do we find a solution to this? And we told the minister point blank that it is all to do with financing. Almost to a month, all the rice millers don't have enough to go out there and pick the rice. I can assure you, the pictures that you show you, give just 2 working weeks and you will not see these pictures again. And that is what the minister was driving at. So the bank came out and said, what can we do? And we said, give us some little help here so that we immediately go and change the situation for all of us. And to tell you, the banks were in agreement with the minister and with us. In fact, the Bank of Ghana came out to say that they are going to set up some funds which will go through the commercial banks, and we will be recipients of those funds, so that immediately, starting from Monday going, we will see action on the farm gate. And the buffer stock CEO also came out and said that as soon as we pay, he is ready to buy the milled rice for the institutions like the schools where a lot of rice is eaten. And he even suggested that both of the government institutions should be given made in Ghana rice, so that we will not see what we are seeing currently again. This is the development that has come. Next Tuesday, we are holding a technical financial meeting. It is called the Technical Finance Committee, comprising all the heads of agri in the banking institution, a representative of Bank of Ghana, for us to see how funds could be made available for immediate purchase of the party. And to us, this is a big relief, because we know that within come Christmas, rice will be flooding the market, and we hope we'll have a huge patronage from the good citizens of Ghana.
Mr. Dupoku, when was this meeting?
Last Wednesday.
Now,
we started the meeting around 4:35 p.m. at the Ministry of Agriculture Ministers' Conference Room.
And you were there as a rice miller, a member of the Rice Millers Association?
I was there as the convener of the National Rice Millers Association, with the president of the National Rice Millers Association, and other rice millers who are executives of the Rice Millers Association, and banks that participated were men. Let's say all the government banks were there, with even foreign banks.
Now, Mr. Dupoku, quick one on this one. There is a company that has bought off rice and has milled them, Avnash. This company says it has rice stock there from last year, which has not been bought already. My question is, if the National Buffer Stock Company is willing to buy your rice, why don't they just buy from Avnash, so that Avnash is able to get more rice from the farmers like they did last year?
Avnash was there. Avnash was at that meeting. But I need to do some little correction here. Avnash was set up to do parboiling, which is a bit different from the straight rice mill that we have. The rice you and I eat, especially down south, is basically milled white rice. Parboiled rice is a rice that goes through a process that is semi-boiled and then dried again and then milled to avoid breakage in it. So it has a different taste from the white milled rice, because the bran, which is mostly starchy and nutritious, that is the nutritious part of the rice, it becomes part of the rice that you are eating. And to tell the truth, not all of us have developed the palate for parboiled rice. That is why Avnash is having this issue. But they were there to be represented. And to tell you, the CEO of Buffer Stock said, he is now experimenting with parboiled rice in the local schools, and the result is quite encouraging. So because of that, he is going to make sure the rice that Avnash has parboiled and milled will also be taken into the mainstream, and that is what is currently going to happen. And so if Avnash comes out to talk about stock which has not been bought,
right, Mr. Dupoku, thank you very much. Just hold on a second for me. We understand the president has arrived at the National Farmers' Day celebration in the Volta region, to be precise. Ivy Secretary is there, and she's joining us to tell us exactly what's going on there. Ivy, what can you report at the Volta region?
If you can hear me, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, arrived at the Jubilee Park a while ago to kickstart the Grandeba of the National Farmers' Day. The national anthem was just played a while ago. A lot of winners, award winners, are expected to receive their awards. and other programs are also expected to take over. So for now, we have the ministers, that's the Minister for Agriculture, and other ministers with other dignitaries also present here for the program. The program is yet to start in a few minutes, and so we are expecting that this year's National Farmers Day in the Volta region will be one of the best farmers that ever celebrated in the country.
Tell us about the farmers, Ivy, the farmers who have gathered there. What is the mood? How are they reacting?
Of course, the farmers, some of the people we interacted with earlier said they are happy about this year's Farmers Day, especially those from the Volta and the Oti region and also Eastern region. They are happy about this year's event. They hope that those of them who are not able to take awards this year are hoping that next year they are able to take awards as well. But you know, here the farmers are happy about this year's event, except that according to some of them, the venue is not big enough for such a program because they have a lot of products to exhibit, which started last Monday. So aside from the venue, farmers are happy about this year's event.
What does this mean for the local economy? I'm sure there are so many people who are able to sell, whose goods will be patronized in this event.
Yes. So here, most of the products being sold here is a local rice from Avalavi, Afisa in the Kettering North District, and also some from Akpafo, that's the Kokwe area in the Kokwe municipality and other places. They also brought some yams and other things. People really sold this year. They also had, earlier they had the Volta Fair, which had a lot of people selling. And from last Monday till now, people, according to those who came to sell their wares, that they sold a lot of things and they are happy about it. Those are the people from the locality, from Oti region up to here, and some other people from other regions are happy because they are able to sell their wares.
Thank you very much, Ivy Setoji. We will come back to you when the president has begun speaking live here on your Joy News channel. Ivy is the one observing the National Farmers Day celebration ongoing at Ho Forest. Let's go back to the other line and wrap up with Mr. Edupoku, who is the convener of the National Rice Millers Association. Mr. Edupoku, it looks like, good news for farmers generally. You were wrapping up there by telling us that the National Buffer Stock Company has assured AVNASH they will buy off the rice which they bought from farmers last year. By when should we see this rice going to the National Buffer Stock Company?
According to the Minister of Agriculture, what we left the table with is that he wants immediate action, and immediate means like yesterday. And so the bank by Tuesday should come out with the modalities where selected millets across the country would be used as the experiment, if I can put it that way, for us to see how it will pan out. So this is what we are on. I am, as at now, preparing after the Farmers Day to move to Fumbisi. My people are already there. We're checking the moisture level, we're checking the quality of the rice before we make a commitment. So by Wednesday, most of us will be up there picking rice, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Oh, please, wrap up.
Yeah. The managing director of Agric Development Bank, who was also present at the meeting, said he is ready and that those who have been selected is going to make sure he pass forward the processing for us so that we immediately pick the rice from the farm gate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yao Edupoku. He's convener for the National Rice Millers Association.